today's video, I want to talk about 401k because there are so many people who didn't recognize the saving potentials of 401k. I will share with you how to get 65 millions in 401k just by making maximum contributions annually. And I will offer you the tools which you can play with and customize to your specific situation. And I will also show you how to use those tools. I will talk about the tax saving potentials by making maximum contributions using example. And lastly, we'll cover required minimum distribution. Let's get started. Actually, before we even get started, so how do you feel when you hear the word 401k? Do you tend to avoid this topic? And most of us are constantly being told that we are not saving enough in 401k, and that creates negative feelings inside of us. As a result, we tend to avoid the topic and not saving as much as we could have. According to Vanguard, more than half of the 401k accounts owned by retirees have less than 65k in them, so which I know is a lot less than the 65 millions which I was talking about earlier. So no matter what situation you are in, and I want to say that I understand that everyone's scenario is different. This video is not about comparisons. I want to provide you the tools and show you the possibilities so that you can make the most out of 401k for yourself. So let's drop all the negative emotions and let's get started. 65 millions, how is that possible? I got this number by making a simple calculation in this Google spreadsheet, which you can get in the descriptions below. And we need to make a few assumptions. We assumed the long-term investment return rate is 7%. We assume the inflation rate is 3%. We also need to put a annual expense when you retire in today's value. And here I just starting point I just put 50,000. And when we assume this theoretical person start to make contributions at age 25, and he was making the maximum contribution allowed by IRS, which is 19,500 in year 2000. And he's also lucky enough that he got his employer match half of his contributions, so that is this term here. And we are so in year 2020 he is saving $29,250. We assume that IRS would allow us to save even more as time progresses according to inflation rate. So in next year he will save even more as IRS allows us to. So the 401k account balance equals to the previous year's account balance multiplied by the investment return rate and then plus the new contributions being made this year. And here is how the first few years account balance look like by investing in this way. And here shows the result. By the age 100 years old, they will get $65 million. By making this estimate, we didn't forget about the withdrawals from the account yet. As you go on, so he makes contribution all the way from 25 years old to 65 years old. And by that time, his account would have $9 million. And then at age 66, start to stop making contributions, but instead start to withdraw. And this withdrawal amount is calculated from the 50,000 that we included earlier, multiplies the inflation rate. So by age 66, this amount is projected to be 167,000. But the interesting part is that even though he started to consume this money and use it for his retirement, because his capital is so large, the amount in his 401k account does not decrease but continues to increase, and then it all the way goes to $65,000. I just want to also mention that because of the required minimum distribution, which we will talk about in part 4, this estimate of how much you withdraw from your account are not accurate. However, we will talk about it in part 4. So there you saw it. It is possible to get $65 million from 401k just by making maximum contributions. I understand that everyone's circumstance is different. So let's just go over several different examples of how different scenarios will play out with our calculation. So the first scenario is, what if your company do not provide a company match for your 401k? And the quick answer, you can still have $33 million. Let's go to the spreadsheet to see how can we get it. So essentially, company do not provide any match, and this ratio becomes, instead of 0.5, it becomes 0. And as you can, and then we drag these equations down all the way to 65. And this way we see that by age 65, our 401k account, we have $6 million, and by age 100, you will have close to $33 million. So what if you start to make full contributions at age 35 instead of at age 25? And that is, on this curve, you really start at 35 and you can still have $11 million. Let's move to the spreadsheet to see how it is possible. So in the spreadsheet, you are really making no contributions starting from age 25 and drag it down all the way to 35. And in this, so then at age 35, you are really making 19,500 of that year plus your company match. So this age component should be adjusted to 17, and then you will adjust this, drag this down to 65, and you get $11 million. So this scenario is also significant because it is quite typical that what if you are maybe paying down your student loan before 35, and maybe you really get your first real job at age 35. The third scenario is, what if you stop working and retire after working for 10 years at age 35? And by that, you can still have $6.6 million. To do that calculation, you essentially work all the way from 25 to 34, and then starting from age 35, you put this number to 0. And there you go, all the way until you retire, you will have $6.6 million. I hope the 3 scenarios are helpful, and you can download the spreadsheet from the description below and customize to your own specific situation. So talk about the tax benefit by making the maximum contributions. I know that maximizing contributions to 401k can be really hard, but the tax benefit may change your opinion. Here, the theoretical person Adam makes 100k annually, and he's single, and he's using standard deduction, which is $12,000. And with maximizing contribution, his taxable income is 100,000 minus the deduction and minus 401k contribution, $68,500, and then his maximum tax rate is 22%, making his total federal tax 10,900. On the other hand, if he do not make 401k contributions, his total taxable income is $88,000, and he would be responsible for 16,000 federal tax. So the total saving in tax is $5,200. To make maximum contribution, theoretically, he needed to put down 19,500, but because of the federal tax saving, he now only need to put down 14,000. And as promised, we will also talk about the required minimum distribution. Essentially, all the money that you save in your 401k is before tax. By this point, you haven't paid any tax on your 401k account balance yet. And when you reach age 70, the IRS will get to you and want you to start paying tax on it. And the way they do it is by implementing this required minimum distribution, IMD. The way how it is implemented is that the IRS will require you to withdraw a certain percentage of your account balance out at that year. For example, when you are age 70, the IRS will require you to withdraw 3.65%. And that percentage keeps increasing as you age all the way to close to 50% if you are going to live all the way to 115 years old. And if we put this 3.65% number in our previous calculation at age 70, so at age 70, previously we projected that you are going to withdraw $189,000, and here we multiply that number. So you need to withdraw $436,000 in that year. So which we saw is more than the amount calculated from 50,000 that we put earlier. So there are two considerations. So one is that although you have to make withdraw this money and you have to pay tax on it that year, that doesn't mean that money is going to get lost. Yes, you are going to pay tax. However, after paying the tax, you may maybe use this money, or if you don't need to use this money, you can put it in another investment account. Another consideration about it is that the Roth 401k and Roth IRA are not subject to the minimum required distribution. So you may want to consider to balance out your contributions to 401k and Roth 401k or Roth IRA. The split between these two accounts, we are going to cover it in another video. So in summary, in this video, I showed you how it is possible to have $65 million in 401k at age 100 years old if you maximize your contribution from age 25. I know that everyone's circumstance is different. That is why I provide you this downloadable spreadsheet, which is easy to edit and you can customize to your own situation. Also know that the tax benefit makes full contribution a lot easier. In the example there, Adam can save $5,000 by making maximum contributions, which is just another reason yet for you to do it beside of these great saving potentials. And lastly, yes, required minimum distribution is real, and however, our calculation is still valid because you can move your money after making distributions to another account. I want to thank you for watching my video, and please consider to subscribe to my channel to learn more about personal finance. Click on the like button to encourage my very first video. On the right side, I also have some useful links where you can get free stocks from the stock market. I hope everyone will take advantage of it as well using my link. Thank you and see you next time.